Susie writes scary tales, but her own life is rather boring. She lives alone with her cats. How many cats does Susie have? Can you count? That's right, 12. This cat on the shelf is a statuette. Susie had just finished writing her new novel and went to meet with her agent, Harry. Susie found him unconscious in his office. The police questioned 3 suspects. The cleaner said he'd been washing windows in Harry's office all morning. At that time, Harry was feeling perfectly fine. Sarah, another author, had an important business lunch outside the office. And George, also a writer, was writing a new novel at home. Who's lying? The cleaner. If he washed the windows, why are they so dirty? Susie returned home and went to bed. But in the middle of the night, strange sounds woke her up. She saw 3 ghosts in the middle of her bedroom. She noticed that one of the ghosts wasn't real and asked him to stop fooling around. Which ghost is fake? This guy over here. He's not transparent, and he's casting a shadow. The fake ghost took off his mask and costume. As soon as Susie saw his face, she started screaming. Why? Look at this poster on the wall. The guy looks exactly like the character from the cover of one of Susie's novels. Alex, is that you? Susie asked. Alex said, Yes, and I need your help. My world is in danger. Susie was willing to help him, but first, she wanted Alex to crack a riddle. I'm something people love or hate. I change people's appearances and thoughts. If a person takes care of themselves, I increase. I fool some people. To others, I am a mystery. Some people try to hide me, but I still show. And no matter how hard people try, I never go down. What am I? Alex answered correctly. Together, they entered a portal that had opened in Susie's mirror. What was his reply? It's age. Susie found herself inside her own scary tale. In front of the main gates leading to Ghost Town, skeletons stopped Susie and Alex. They said, If you want to enter the town, you have to guess our riddle first. Why are skeletons so chill? Susie gave the right answer, and they passed through. What did she say? Because nothing gets under their skin. Susie and Alex walked up to an old castle where a werewolf and a beauty lived. The locals said the girl didn't actually want to live there. The beauty invited Susie and Alex to the castle and said, My husband will be here soon. You have to hide. They hid in the basement and locked the door. But in the middle of the night, the werewolf managed to open the door and charged at them. How did the werewolf find them? The beauty was the werewolf. Susie and Alex ran away from the werewolf's castle and hid in a small cabin. But it was a trap. Someone locked the door from the outside. The walls of the cabin began to move. The pair had only 30 seconds to choose the right door to escape. The first door led to a tunnel with dangerous snakes and scorpions. There was a tiny wooden elevator behind the second door. And there was hot lava behind the third door. Which door should they choose? The second one. Although the elevator is small, they can still fit in together and escape from the creepy cabin. Susie and Alex got outside and saw a suspicious vampire. But he said, No worries, I won't bite you if you manage to solve my riddle. I run through hills, I veer around mountains, I leap over rivers and crawl through forests. Step out of your door to find me. What am I? Alex answered, and the vampire had to let them go. What did he say? I'm a road. The two were walking through a forest and came across two women. Alex whispered into Susie's ear, "Be careful, one of them is a ghost. Which one is it?" "This lady over there. She doesn't have a shadow." Susie and Alex continued their crazy quest and met three friends on a beach. One of these guys was a werewolf. Can you guess which one? This guy. Look at his footprints. He's turned into a human only recently. Susie and Alex decided to have a picnic on this romantic beach. Suddenly, they heard singing. A mermaid hypnotized them with her beautiful voice and took them to her underwater kingdom. When Susie woke up, she asked the mermaid to let them go. The magical creature answered, "I will let you go if you help me cut this cake into 4 pieces with only 2 cuts." Have you figured out how to do it? First, they should cut the cake in half. Now they need to cut the cake sideways through the middle so that it has 2 layers. Now the cake is divided into 4 pieces with only 2 cuts. The mermaid let them go. As soon as Susie and Alex got to the shore, they saw flames. Ms. Adams's warehouse was on fire. The locals caught 3 suspects. These people were near the warehouse when the fire started, but the police didn't find any matches or a lighter anywhere. Can you help Susie understand who the criminal is? There he is. He used his glasses and the sun's rays to start the fire. Sometime later, Susie and Alex met an elegant princess. She was crying because someone had stolen all her jewelry. She wanted to find the thief immediately. Alex questioned the neighbors.
"I was on the 2nd floor when I heard someone break in. They stole all the money from my safe, too,"
Ms. Skeleton said. Another neighbor, Ms. Monster, said that someone had taken away her priceless antique vase. Susie knew for sure that one of the ladies was lying. After all, she had written this story. But Alex couldn't figure out who the thief was. Can you help him? It was Ms. Skeleton. She said she was on the 2nd floor, but her house is a 1-story building. An elf called Derek came up to Susie and asked her for help. He hadn't seen his girlfriend Fiona for 2 weeks. He was afraid that something terrible could have happened to her. Susie and Alex went to the address Derek had given them. Fiona ran a cute magic goods store, but the locals said that she had a secret room for black magic rituals in the basement of her store. Can you see any clues or secret doors? This painting on the wall is hanging straight, but there are scratches on the wall, as if someone had been moving the painting lots of times. Susie and Alex moved the painting too, and this opened a secret door. They went downstairs and found the room. They looked through Fiona's magical tools and notes and found out that she had been working on a recipe for an immortality potion. The last record in her notes was this: "Today I'm gonna test my potion on myself." They saw a suspicious door with a huge lock at the back of the lab. Alex broke the door down, and they saw Fiona sitting on a chair, unconscious. She was holding an empty bottle. What happened there? Did Fiona fail her experiment, or did someone help her? Someone else has definitely been here. If Fiona had simply fainted, she wouldn't have been able to lock the door. Alex brought Fiona to a hospital. He noticed 3 people in the hall, but something seemed a little weird to him. What is it? This doctor's first aid kit has the wrong image on it. Alex confessed to Susie that he liked her and asked her out. They went on a date to a local concert hall. Suddenly, they noticed a pianist lying unconscious on the stage. He was holding a note in his hand. The police immediately questioned the suspects. The conductor said he'd been talking to journalists in his room. The janitor said he'd been cleaning the lobby. And the flutist was practicing for the concert. Who's guilty? The flutist. This note is a rebus riddle that says flute. Susie and Alex went to a magic show. The magician claimed he could read anyone's mind with his fingers. Susie didn't believe him. "I can prove it," the magician said, and asked for 2 volunteers. Susie and a girl called Amy went to the stage and wrote their thoughts on 2 pieces of paper. They rolled them up and put them in the magician's hat. The man took out the first note and said, "Get ready to see some real magic. Someone loves a guy named Mike." And that was exactly what Amy thought. Everybody was shocked and began to applaud. The magician unrolled the first piece of paper and put it aside. Then he pulled the second one out and said, "Susie doesn't believe in my magic." And that was the correct answer too. But Susie knew the magician was cheating. How? The second volunteer was fake. The magician already knew what she had written. That's why he said her phrase first. Then he unfolded Susie's piece of paper, memorized the text, and said it later. The magician was very offended, so he called the show's acrobats to take revenge. The acrobats grabbed Susie and Alex and made them participate in a creepy survival game. Susie and Alex had to walk over a glass bridge. One wrong step, and they'd fall down where the hungry lions were already waiting for them. But if they succeeded in this challenge, Alex would turn into a real person. Half of the glass slabs that made up this bridge were very fragile, but the rest of them were very strong. How could Susie and Alex get to the other side and stay alive? They need to crawl close to the middle of the bridge, along the metal beams. Next morning, Susie woke up in her bedroom. She yelled, "Oh my, it was just a dream." But it wasn't. How can you tell? Alex's shirt is hanging on Susie's chair.
There was a heist in the Great Museum of Art. A very valuable and important painting was stolen. A detective investigated the crime scene and managed to find the person who had stolen the painting. However, when the detective asked the thief to give it back, the criminal gave him 3 copies of the same painting. He refused to tell the police which one was original. But the detective immediately figured it out. How do you think he did it? Do you see that each painting has a different frame? But only one of them is similar to the frames of other paintings in the museum. And since this museum is known to use the same style of frames, this one is the original painting. Jeremy was accepted to the best school of witchcraft and wizardry. One of the classes he had to take was about transforming into animals. 3 professors taught that class, and each of them specialized in transforming into one certain animal. Can you tell which professor turns into what kind of animal? Do you see that the first professor has a forked tongue? She must transform into a snake. Have you noticed that the second professor has a lion's tail? Her animal must be a lion. And do you see bear claws the third professor has? Then he must turn into a grizzly bear. Tony was going to study abroad for 1 semester. He flew into another country, found his new dorm where he was going to stay, and unpacked his stuff. Then he called his parents to inform them he'd arrived. They asked him, "What time is it there?" Tony was pretty tired and jet-lagged, so he couldn't immediately tell what time it was. Can you help Tony figure out the time? Look, the Eiffel Tower and Sydney Opera House views are just posters, but you can actually see Mount Fuji through the window. So, Tony is in Tokyo, and it's 8:45 there. Carly Zoe woke up one day and found themselves in a weird place that looked like a jail. Which of them will be able to escape? Carly can escape because the bars of her prison cell are made of wax. She'll be able to use the candle on the floor behind her back to melt them. Zoe can also escape. Do you see several rats in the corner that are munching on the bars? It's because the bars of the girl's cell are made of salted breadsticks, and she can eat them and escape. Isabella was a princess and the heir to the throne. One day, an evil witch lured her into an enchanted forest so that she could take over the kingdom. Isabella got lost, but fortunately, she had a magic pendant. The king's magician gave it to her some time ago, claiming it would help her find her way back if she ever got lost. She used the pendant, and 3 spirit animals appeared. The first spirit animal was an owl. The second one was a butterfly, and the third spirit animal was a hawk. Only one of them knew the way back to the castle. But if Isabella chose to follow the wrong animal, she would find herself even further away from her kingdom. Which spirit animal should she follow? Have you noticed the kingdom banner in the throne room? It has a butterfly on it, so it's the official symbol of this kingdom. Isabella should follow the butterfly. Toby was a rich businessman. One day, he came back home from a dinner party and saw that somebody had broken into his house and stolen his expensive watch from his safe. He called the police. They investigated the crime scene and found 3 suspects. Gordon said that at that time, he'd been at home trying to make his teenage kids go to bed. Danny said he'd spent the whole night at a party with his friends. And Matt claimed that he'd been at a movie theater watching a new superhero movie between 12 and 2 a.m. The police immediately realized who'd broken into Toby's house and stolen the watch. Have you figured it out? It was Matt. When Toby arrived home, it was 11:30 p.m., so it doesn't matter where Matt was between 12 and 2 a.m. Elliot was a crazy scientist who was obsessed with the idea of parallel universes. He dedicated his whole life to figuring out how to create portals to other dimensions. One day, he finally succeeded in building a portal machine. When he tried to test it, 3 portals appeared in front of him. And then the machine just blew up. And since he had meddled with the laws of physics, the universe where he lived started to collapse. The scientist had to choose one of the portals to escape through, and fast. The first portal opened to the universe in which Elliot was a supervillain. The second portal opened in the world in which the man was a ruthless king. The third portal opened on the planet where Elliot was an underwater creature. Which portal should he choose? Do you see the portal machine the supervillain Elliot is holding? It's the same as the one that destroyed itself. Apparently, supervillain Elliot is a scientist as well. He might be able to help the real Elliot to bring his original universe back by making a better portal machine. Sally was at a crowded concert. Suddenly, she felt somebody reaching into her bag and pulling out her wallet that only had her credit cards inside. She couldn't see who the person was, but after checking the footage from the surveillance cameras, security guards were able to narrow it down to 3 suspects. Joshua said he had been sharing concert videos on his social media and didn't have anything to do with the theft. Jennifer said she was super rich and didn't need anyone else's wallet with credit cards. She only used cash when she went shopping. Penny said she had been singing along to the song the band had been playing, so she didn't even know what had happened. The security guards immediately figured out who the thief was. Who stole Sally's wallet? Nobody told Jennifer that the wallet contained only credit cards, but somehow she still knew it. She must have stolen it. Mary found a new job in another city, so she had to move. The realtor found 3 options for Mary to choose from and took her to see each of them. First, she brought Mary to apartment number 1, which was located downtown. Second, she took the woman to apartment number 2, which was within walking distance of a subway station. After that, she took Mary to apartment number 3, which was next to a grocery store. Which apartment should Mary choose? Since apartment number 1 has a rat living in it, and apartment number 3 has a crack in one of the walls, Mary should choose apartment number 2. Miss Sanders took her students camping at the weekend. She wanted to tell them about forest plants. During the trip, one of the students wandered off and got lost in the forest. Hours passed, but he couldn't find his way back. The guy felt very hungry, but he didn't have any food with him. That was when he saw 3 different bushes with 3 different kinds of berries in front of him. Only one type of berries was safe to eat, and the other 2 were poisonous. Which berry should he eat as he's waiting to be rescued? Remember the poster that was in the classroom? It stated that these 2 kinds of berries were poisonous, so only these ones are safe to eat. Sandy was driving across the country to visit her family. She was tired of being on the road and wanted to take a break. She saw a diner and stopped there to have something to eat and rest. The diner looked empty, old, and dirty. The waitress told her there were only 3 meal options to choose from and asked her which one she wanted to eat. So, which one looks safe to eat? Do you see the fumes coming from the first meal? They're green. That can't be a good sign. And the third meal has a little bug on it. Yikes! So Sandy should eat the second meal and get the heck out of there. Audrey won the Best Actress Award at a film festival. But when she left the stage and went to give an interview to the reporters, her award was stolen. A police officer arrived and found 3 suspects. The first suspect was Grace, a cleaning lady. She said she had been taking selfies with her favorite celebrities backstage and didn't have anything to do with the award. The second suspect was Gabrielle, a reporter. She said she had stolen the award because she had been with other reporters waiting for her turn to ask Audrey some questions. The third suspect was Catherine, an actress. She said she was not the one who had stolen the award because she'd been among guests watching the show. Besides, she already won the Best Actress Award last year. The police officer knew who was lying. And you? Take a closer look at the selfie Grace took. You can see Catherine behind, sneaking away with the award.